And here we are at Rigs and Techniques. Got Chad Kinney from Bam Bam Charters, and we're going to talk a little bit about fishing offshore. Now, this is the time of year in the spring when all the stuff starts happening offshore. You know, everything's, the water's pretty, and we're after the pelagic species like dolphins and wahoos and mackerels and all kinds of stuff. And, blue marlins or sailfish, could be anything.
Anything that'll bite.
Anything that'll come up. And all these pelagic species out there have great big eyeballs for a reason. They're out there in that clear blue water, and they're sight feeders. And anything, that they see that's smaller than they are moving through the water, they're going to try to eat it. They've never encountered anything that's smaller than they are moving through the water that they couldn't eat. So they're going to try to eat just about anything. But we want to get their attention. So what we'll try to do is we'll go to some things like this when you're trolling on a weed line for little dolphins and whatnot. Chad goes to this rig right here.
Yeah, so everything like Dave was talking about is kind of like a food chain out there. So they'll start with the smaller baits. So Dorado's food for something out there. Everything gets food up into the big guys, the marlin, But so anyways, what we're doing here,
chasing something.
Yeah, something's always chasing. So what we do right now, we're starting to see some weed lines out there, which is really great. The water temp's creeping up there a little bit. During our peak season, it's going to be here this summer, but right now it's really ahead of schedule. There's some Dorado out there, good numbers of wahoo, some billfish are already going. We got some everything showing up. So I'm just going to tell you a little trick that we kind of like doing. Islander lures, we've been using them forever. These things are great. Most of the time, I'd say probably 8% of the time, we're using them single rigged. But what we do, if you want to get on a weed line earlier in the year right now, you've got smaller baits out there. You might have baby triggerfish, little flying fish underneath there, call them little cockroaches. But you can see here we got a daisy chain made up here.
All kinds of little
lures.
Stuff out there. And this is a chase situation. It's called a chase bait situation where you got one bait after another bait or a daisy chain.
Yeah.
And what that does is it triggers that.
It triggers the bite, the impulse bite. You say basically you got two teasers up there and they see that bait going. And what I like doing also, if y'all can see right here, this is kind of like a concave head right here. So it's basically a mini chugger. And so you got both those working like that. And your very last one is just it's going to be
bullet head.
Bullet head. It's going to go right through the water a lot better. And then we got that rigged up. So these will be chugging and plowing the water more in that last one, which they're going to hit the weak fish in the back, which is this one, and they're going to hit it really good. And we've got the Trocar Eagle Claw hooks on here, which are really sharp. We've got a straight one right here. This is a 6/0. These things are really money. They hold their edge, and they're really tough on tensile strength, too. So if you get a 10, 20-pound Dorado, no problem. But you get that big bull in the 40, 50-pound range, it's not going to bend out, and you'll be able to get them. Also on the main line here, we're using a 100-pound Mamoy. This stuff is great. It holds up tough. We use it on our main lines or anything else, but this is for our leader line for the daisy chain.
Right. Now, how you put these on here is really simple. You just slide your crimps down where you're going to want them to be. You start at the hook end first, and put your teasers up from them. And what you do is you just slide a crimp down and put a couple crimps in it. It's pretty much just a placeholder.
It's just a placeholder for the stopper right there.
Right.
And it's just to keep those in place. And then your hook set here, you want to get it right at the back end of the skirt there. So
you want it to be hidden in the skirt. Yeah. And you can also I did one upper also. This is more of a teaser deal. And what we have here is the big islander on the end. This is to get your attention of a marlin or a white marlin or a sailfish or a big Dorado.
Something bigger in the food chain.
Right. We'll just slide a ballyhoo's head in here and put this loop behind his gills and use this copper wire to wrap his head up real tight and let him come down. And you'll notice how I've got these my teaser dropper. They're on little droppers. And what happens is when I slide the crimp down, when I put the line in, I make sure that the dropper loop is coming from the front so that it hangs out back this way. And when it's doing this deal, instead of going straight out the back, it adds a lot more action to your droppers.
Yep, more spread.
Yeah, and especially if these are really light. If you had little rubber squids on here, and you could actually put a piece of 200-pound instead of 100-pound as your dropper, just to add stiffness, because we really don't want anything to eat that thing. We just want them to come and look at this one. But if you put 200-pound up in here, and it adds a little stiffness to the rig, and this little dude just bounces all over the place.
Tell you one thing, what also helps, guys, when you're working on these weed lines, I talk about a lot, even if you have outriggers and stuff, but if you're working a real tight weed line, put 3 lines out. That way you can put 1 long, 2 flats, and you guys can work that weed line in and out a lot faster.
You can turn a lot better.
You can turn a lot quicker. And if you get on a whole bunch of Dorado or Wahoo, then you're not going to be losing as many fish. You can drop back, hit 2 or 3. You get 5 lines out there, it's going to be chaos, and most times it's going to be cut off.
Yeah, a lot of, keep it simple.
Yeah,
you know,
KISS rule.
Exactly. It works a lot better, when you're trying to fish with 8 lines or 6 lines. If the best case scenario happens and all 6 hook up, that's horrible. You're in trouble now. So it's really good to downsize when you get a chance. Well, man, that was great. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
We got.